Every day, the internet becomes increasingly intertwined with our daily lives. With this integration comes an increased risk of cybercrime. Cybercriminals target individuals and businesses alike, often seeking sensitive data. According to the report of the Norton Life Lock survey, 1.24 trillion rupees was lost in India in the recent past due to cybercrime. Around 63% of Indians are cybercrime victims or affected due to cyber breaches. Potential losses to cybercrime by individuals in the United States in 2022 amount to more than $10.2 billion. This is significantly higher than in 2021 when individuals lost an estimated $6.9 billion. This video contains the interview of Dr. Harold DaCosta by Dr. Ashok Yendi. Dr. DaCosta is president of Cybersecurity Corporation and CEO of Intelligent Quotient Security System. He has trained thousands of law enforcement officers, judges, and has rich experience working on more than 5,000 cases of cybersecurity breaches. Dr. Ashok Yendi is a former professor and head of the Department of Law, University of Mumbai, and managing partner, Yendi Legal Associates. The interview is on the basis of queries made by viewers.
Friends, our today's guest speaker is Dr. Harold DaCosta. I have seen journey of Dr. DaCosta from humble beginning to international expert. I will just briefly introduce Dr. Professor DaCosta. Dr. Harold DaCosta is the president of the Cybersecurity Corporation and CEO of Intelligent Quotient Security System. He also advises law enforcement agencies and international trainer on matters related to cybercrime. His expertise relies upon cybercrime investigation, cyber forensic, digital evidence, cyber law, and cybersecurity. He has vast experience in the corporate, education, bank, and government sector. He has assisted many government law enforcement agencies on matters related to cyber terrorism, banking fraud, data theft, IPR, and social media fraud. He has rich experience working on more than 5,000 cases of cybersecurity breaches. Friends, for the past decade, he has trained more than 9,500 judicial officers from lower judiciary to the higher judiciary from all over India and 7 other countries globally. He has also trained more than 60,000 cops in the country and is associated with various national, state level, judicial as well as law enforcement academies as well as other institutions and organizations of national repute. He was a resource person at 31 international conferences and was also part of India Mobile Congress held in Delhi. Recently, he was invited by CEELI Prague in association with Federation Judicial Center, United States, to train judicial officers on adjudicating cases related to cyber terrorism. He developed and set up social media lab for Pune police for effective investigation of social media related frauds. For his exemplary work, he was awarded 5 times consecutively as eminent CIO of India from 2017 to 2021. He has trained more than 5 lakhs people in cyberspace domain in various conferences and various programs. He has played a pivotal role in Mumbai University in re-engineering the examination system of Mumbai University, which stopped the question paper leakage. And he is also on academic council and board of studies of various universities. While heading as CEO, IQSS featured in the top 10 organizations in the country. For the year 2021 and 22, Security Corporation, that is his Cybersecurity Corporation, also featured as one of the top-notch organizations in the country. I am also proud that he is also in the panel of ND Legal Associates, one of our law firm, and he is doing really exemplary work. I really appreciate his contribution in the development and in the field of the cybersecurity and cybercrime. Thank you. So, Dr. DaCosta, welcome. And I just want to ask some few simple questions for our viewers. Actually, they are ranging from various levels, from legal students to legal professionals to common person. So, what are the trends in the cybercrime and what are the different types of the cybercrime? Because our viewers They must have heard about the cybercrime, but they are not exactly aware about the what types of the crimes are there, cyber crimes. It must be happening with them also, but they are not aware. And since you are a expert working at the national and the international level, I think please enlighten our viewers about these trends and the types of the cybercrime.
First and foremost, thank you very much for inviting me. In fact, when we talk about this cybercrime, we have to keep in mind that during the COVID and the post-COVID, so on now, what we are going on with, in the last 3 years, between 2019, 20, and 21, India recorded almost about 16 lakh cybersecurity breaches. Now, these are only the recorded figures. The actual figures could be much, much different. If we talk about in 2019, 2020, in terms of cybercrimes breaches, we as a nation lost almost about 1,25,000 crore rupees. If you look at the trends of the cybercrime globally, in fact, in 2022, the overall trend is the loss of cybercrime globally is almost about $7.5 trillion. And by the end of 2024, this is expected to cross about $10.5 trillion. Now, when we are talking as a nation that we want to be a 5 trillion economy as a nation, and when we are talking about cybercrime globally as about $10.5 trillion loss which could take place by the end of 2024, we could imagine that the loss in cybercrime is much, much higher. In fact, it is much higher than the GDP of our country. Globally, I'm talking about. In fact, when you talk about the current trends, there's a large increase in cyber crimes, especially in the banking frauds and the social media frauds. Now, in the banking frauds, daily people are getting to be victimized. Now, we have seen the positive trends of digital technology. It's good that we are going towards digital universe, digital technology we have been using, but at the same time, there has been a lot of misuse also. In fact, we have lot of particular villages in our country where today internet is available. But then the awareness of cybercrime is least. In fact, in one of the report in April 2023, it suggested that India is the top nation as far as the cybercrime is concerned. In fact, it has also been put out now that the conviction rate of cybercrime is very poor in our country. In fact, I will touch upon this matter a little later. But what I mean to say about is, if you come as far as the banking frauds are concerned, this is on the highest pinnacle at this moment, followed closely by the social media frauds. Now, withstanding the fact, now these are the two major components or the two major pillars of where the cyber crimes are being orchestrated or where it has been committed across. In fact, in today's trends, it has been found that almost about 80% of the crimes which takes place, there is an electronic evidence which is required to prove the fact or not to prove the fact. So all said and done, if you talk about the current trends, banking frauds, social media frauds, if you talk about the banking frauds, now we are talking about bitcoins, we're talking about cryptocurrency. In banking frauds, we are talking about things are becoming digitized. It has already become digitized. And since people are not doing online communication, people are doing online transactions, but the cyber hygiene practices among the common people is the least. And that's why I would like to put on record that in our country we have got the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which is very important. But looking at the today's current cyberspace, I also would like to insist upon that we also require Swachh Internet Abhiyan.
Oh, great. So I just want to Professor Dr. DeCosta. We have seen and heard about these traditional crimes like that. So this is a specialized different type of the crimes, which may not be part of the Indian Penal Code. So how these type of the crimes are investigated and how we come to the conclusion?
Yeah. In fact, sir, it's a very good question what you have asked me. In fact, length and breadth, when I visit the country, people are getting victimized, but they don't know what to do. In fact, the government of India, especially the Home Ministry, have started a unique portal specifically for having the cybercrime complaints to be registered. And that particular portal is cybercrime.gov.in. So now there is no need for a common person to go to the police station to register his or her complaint. The person can directly go onto the portal, The portal will ask some certain information regarding the personal attributes about that person. Those informations have to be keyed in. You have to give your photo identification proof, which place you're living, and then in a very short, about in 1500 characters, you have to just specify the what exactly the crime has been orchestrated against you. Now, once this has been done, this particular complaint will be stored or registered in the portal of the Home Ministry, which then will be parted to the jurisdiction where you are residing, to the police station, and then you will get a call, maybe a verbal call, or you may get an email from the police station saying that you have to come. They will record your statement, and then the matter will proceed forward. Well, all said and done, there are seniors, there are senior citizens who may not be knowing about these portals. So there is a one toll-free number, 1930. So a person can call on this number, tell what the problem is. This particular part will be recorded at the receiving end, and that particular complaint will then be forwarded to the jurisdiction where that person resides. He or she would be called by the police, the statement shall be recorded, and then the process of having that complaint to be taken, the FIR to be registered, so on and so forth. But one important fact is that how these investigations later on is carried forward. Most important point of view, if there is any investigation which has to be carried out specifically in terms of the cybercrime, the electronic evidence is very important. So for this electronic evidence, the police will seize the mobile phone, or they will take into custody if there is any email. So that email will be seized or will be taken by the police. So what I mean to say is that investigation by the police will be depending on the electronic evidence which has been submitted to them. Now that's very important. The other important point of view is that how this particular information or this evidence is recorded and stored by the law enforcement agencies. Well, there are a lot of provisions, there are a lot of rules, there are cardinal rules on cyber forensics where how this electronic evidence have to be stored, they have to be retrieved, and then they could be used as a part of evidence in the court of law. But all said and done, what I mean to say that a common person now need not go to the police station, can make an online complaint, where the complaint shall be registered in the Union Home Ministry's portal. The police then will call, record the statement, but while the investigation is being carried forward, it's very, very important that if it is a social media fraud, then it is the responsibility of the complainant to give the complete electronic record or the document to the police, which will be viewed, which will be analyzed by them. If it is something of fraud which has taken place related to the internet banking or a mobile banking, then the total electronic document related to the fraud which has taken place from the account ledger has to be provided to the police, where the analysis will be done, and then the investigation would be carried forward.
Thank you, Dr. DeCosta, for explaining about this procedure and the mechanism of filing the case, and particularly the government portal, where now our viewers will come to know about that they can file the cases only on online, no need to go to the police station. It's a really very important information. Now, this being a specialized crime, many legal professionals don't know about this crime actually, or may not be knowing how to deal with such type of the cases. So, how these legal professionals or the advocates they should be updated and upgraded to deal with such types of the cases? Please explain.
Yeah. In fact, I think in today's digital world, it's very important for each and every legal luminary to know about cyber crimes investigation in terms of how this particular evidence to be produced in the court of law, that is admissible of evidence, and how the court will then appreciate the effort which has been taken either by the prosecution or by the defense in explaining the fact, proving or unproving a fact. Now, what I mean to say is that today's advocates, they have to be tuned to know more about electronic evidence. Well, gone are the days when the traditional crimes were taken place, where you would have both the complainant as well as the accused only in one jurisdiction in one area. Now, no more is the case. Now, the victim could be there in one country, the accused could be there in some other country, the technology would be of another country. All of these particular parts, jurisdiction issues, territorial boundaries issue, all of these are a major concern. Therefore, in today's particular context, it is very important for an advocate to understand for a legal student to understand that how these particular matters to be handled, and for that professional learning is very important. Professional training is very important because most of the cases which are taking place in the cyberspace, they don't arrive at a conclusion. They don't arrive at a conclusion simply because how this matter has to be produced, what type of evidence has to be produced, how it has to be argued in the court is been not aware by the traditional advocates who have been working for a long time. I'm giving a due respect to their knowledge. But in today's particular trends, I think they have to tune themselves on this electronic evidence forum into the process of what is cloud computing, so on and so forth. So if they are aware of the latest trends, I'm sure that cybercrime today is the biggest problem as the nation, as the world is concerned. And if properly argued, I'm sure that the person who has orchestrated a cybercrime would be punished by as per law, and the victim who gets to be offended for no reason will get due justice from the court of law.
Dr. DeCosta, I totally agree with you that this being a specialized crime, the legal profession should be professionally trained. And I think you are also one of the faculty member in many institutions, nationally and internationally, where you are imparting professional training to the people. And it's a need of the hour, not only legal professional, but even due respect to the judiciary, judges have to be trained properly because this being specialized. And as you rightly said, otherwise it will be very difficult to get the justice in such types of the crime. Now, we have seen, Professor DeCosta, we have seen that, and we have heard that this conviction rate is very low, very poor. That is what we have heard actually. We are not specialized in that particular field. So, what are the reasons for that conviction rate is very low or very poor, and what is the solution for that?
Yeah, it's one very important question. And if the conviction rate is very low, there can be various reasons. Some of the reasons which come to my mind at this moment is that the complaint which has been registered by the police may be done without application of a mind, or it might have done with proper application of a mind, but the investigating agency may not be knowing what evidence to be collected, or the the so-called complaint has been registered with proper application of a mind, the investigation also has taken place, but the judicial agency may not be knowing what effort has been taken by the law enforcement agency in proving the fact. So somewhere there is a bottleneck, and this bottleneck arises because there is a lot of unawareness about this whole particular matter. Now, if you look at the conviction rate of cybercrime, well, it's not in double digits. Well, I would say that it's hardly 1% all over the nation.
Only 1%.
Hardly,
Oh.
hardly 1% as the nation is concerned. In fact, there have been some certain statistics which have been given by NCRB between 2017 to 2021. Well, Gujarat recorded more than 4,700 cybercrime cases. Karnataka recorded almost about 40,000 odd cases. Well, in 4,700 odd cases in Gujarat which were being registered, in fact, none of the cases got convicted, not a single. If you talk about Karnataka, where almost about 40,000 cases got registered in the last 5 years, between 2017 to 2021, hardly about 20 to 21 cases got to be convicted.
So, what are the reasons actually, and what is the solution for
Yeah,
that?
the reasons, there are various reasons. One of the first particular reason is that, the awareness among the law enforcement agencies is very poor. In fact, there are no many dedicated cyber police stations in the country. We may say that there are almost about 936 or 1,000 cyber police stations in the country, but are we having adequate skilled manpower to investigate these crimes? Or are we having the traditional police just being partially trained and then told them to investigate the cyber crimes? It's not their mistake. We require dedicated cyber police stations with modern technology, with people who are working up over there having the technical trends as well as having a legal knowledge together. That's the first part, because whenever we talk about conviction, the matter is either made or broken at the time when the evidence is being collected. That's the first point. What to collect, how to put it in the court of law, how the argument has to be carried forward, all of this is the biggest bottleneck. So the first bottleneck is at the law enforcement agency. Point number two, when the proper evidence has been collected, these electronic devices, the mobile phones or the hard disk from the laptop, for example, or the memory cards, they have to be sent to the forensic lab. Now, there are very few electronic examiner labs in the country. If we talk about Maharashtra, for example, we have got state cyber forensic lab, but none of them is an electronic examiner lab. Now, to be an electronic examiner lab, you have to quantify and qualify under Section 79A of the Information Technology Act 2000. Where in Maharashtra, we don't have any of the labs which quantify under Section 79A of the Information Technology Act 2000. What does that mean? It does mean that if the law enforcement agency has seized the device, sent to this forensic lab, but since this lab is not a recognized lab, therefore all the information or all the report which comes from these particular lab technically may not be accepted in the court. And under these particular situations, how then we can get the conviction? So the solution for this is that quickly the government has to wrap up. Quickly the government has to have cyber forensic lab, get it certified as an electronic examiner lab. Now you can get this lab certified. There is an organization in Delhi, MITI, which comes under the Ministry of Information Technology. The lab is certified by them under some certain procedures, under some certain guidelines. Quickly we have to do it. We have to have skilled manpower over there, not contract people. In fact, in the forensic lab, we require dedicated on-roll employees, because we see in our country, on the boundaries of our country, in Jammu and Kashmir, we won't have contract soldiers. We have paid soldiers. We are on the roll. Similarly, we require skilled forensic specialists who should be on the roll of the government and just not on contract level. So if you do this, set up the electronic examiner labs, I'm sure that many of the cases would lead to a logical conclusion. Police will always look for convictions, no matter whether it is right or wrong, because they are actually doing the investigation. They will feel that what they have done is right. But the court is impartial one. The court will always look from the rule book. The court will always look whether this lab is certified or not. If it is not certified, all the work which is carried out by the law enforcement agency will be of no use, and the matter will lead into acquittals, because there is a lack of information, the lack of coordination, and most important, the information cannot be relied upon by the court, and therefore it will never lead to a high rate conviction, but it will lead into high rate acquittals. That's the problem.
Yeah, you are right. Dr. DeCosta, you rightly mentioned that the cyber security and cyber crime is very it has great significance, because there is a huge millions of the rupees are lost, whether at the public sector level or at the individual level, and that's why this particular your professional training and this area is very important from that. Now, what as a common layperson, we feel that what is the future of the cyberspace? What do you feel about the future, and how then to bring culprits to the book or give justice to the innocent people like the innocent people?
I think the first point of view is creating awareness among the mass public. Digital technology is good, but detoxification of digital technology is highest at this moment. I think that detoxification has to be removed only by having sufficient, reasonable awareness of this domain. That's point number one. Point number two, we should have specific designed curriculum in universities exclusively talking about cyber security, cyber law, cyber forensics, cyber crime investigation. I'm not saying that we have, but comparative to the population of 140 crores, if you have got say about 5 to 6 institutes, that doesn't mean that we have got quality manpower to tackle this menace. Number three, what I feel is that there has to be an amendment in the law, because whatever has taken the last IT Act, when it was amended, it was in 2008. There have been some small amendments taken place, but seriously, we may have to look at this IT Act, because when the IT Act was initiated, or when it was brought across, it was mainly for the e-commerce activities. As a special act, it covered a very small matter as far as the cyber crimes are concerned. We require a special law created uniquely for this particular space. We require to apply the mind. So there should be some changes in law also has to be taken place with the advent of the cyber crimes, which have grown exponentially in the last few years. The university curriculum, especially the students, have to be taught not only the basics, but they have to get into the technicality and the legal space also. I presume that if at all we want to make a digital India, then you require quality students and quality manpower to monitor this cyberspace, because as a nation we are the largest user of internet in the world. We are the largest user of mobile phone in the world. We are the largest user of social media users in the world. But we are the largest nation as far as the cybercrime also is concerned. And under this point of view, my particular personal opinion would be is that we require most of these curriculums which are practical in nature, which should be given to the young budding lawyers, even to the technical students, such as these students, when they come into the industry, when they come in the society, they will be able to learn the advances which has taken place. They'll be able to learn about the law, and I'm sure that by making these changes to a larger extent, they will be able to give justice to the common victim who today is going from pillar to post asking for justice.
So thank you, Dr. DeCosta, for nicely explaining and responding to our queries which we received from the viewers. Queries were common queries, but very relevant and very important. You also explained and you have rightly mentioned that India is the largest user of the computer and the internet, but there are less number of the experts in that particular field. And you also explained what is the need of the hour. You also explained about the recent trend is the cyber crime. What are the different types of the cyber crime? Then you also investigated how the cyber crime is being investigated. You also mentioned about this portal, government portal, so that our viewers will come to know that how to file the cyber crime complaint. No need to go to the police station. Then about the legal professionals, how they are to be updated and upgraded. How this professional training is necessary, and that is already many person like you, they are already imparting a professional training to the advocates and the judges. And then why conviction rate is poor? Because people are very concerned and about this why the conviction rate is poor. But you also nicely explained about the reasons and the solutions for improving the conviction rate in this country. And about the future of the cyberspace, you say that we need to have more and more cyber experts in this particular country, and we want to make India as a Atmanirbhar, like what our Prime Minister says. So, Dr. DeCosta, it was really nice explaining about all these queries from the viewers. And I will also mention at the end of this video your number, contact number, and the email. So, any viewers having any query, they can directly contact any cyber query regarding cyber security or cyber crime is there. So, thank you for your, because he was very busy. In spite of the busy schedule, he spared some